The Golf Biz with Mikey D, Drew, and the crew. Management, marketing, myths, and morons. Hope we make you smile.
Welcome to the Golf Biz. I'm Joe Dahlstrom with Mikey D, Drew, and the crew, where our one and only goal is to go ahead and share stories, successes, and failures of managing and marketing golf courses all over America. Today we have Jason Davis as our guest today. Jason's been with the Paradigm family for 4 or 5 years. He was at Bali High. We now moved him to Dobson. Longtime PGA guy, probably the smartest one out of the group. And unfortunately for him, he's the one that picks up all the pieces. He's the organized one. But anyway, so Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Cool,
excited.
Cool. Absolutely. So we're going to start the show this way every week because last week we figured out on episode 1 that when we got a little loose and started telling stories, it was way more fun. So it's going to be the 1 minute birdies and bogeys. So we're going to ask Drew, Mikey D, and Jason what their birdie of the week is and their bogey of the week. Drew, why don't we start with you?
Right on. So this week, my birdie and bogey kind of go hand in hand. I'm going to start it with the bogey. Over at Dobson Ranch, high volume course. We get lots of people coming out, lots of groups too, reliable groups come out all the time. And we had one where we had a little bit of a mix up. Didn't have their start time correct. We thought it was 7:30. They had it down to 7. But just kind of a testament to our team. We figured it out and we were able to start half of them off the back in time to get out of everybody else's way that started on the front. And then we weaved them back in as they made the turn, and everybody had probably the best time out at Dobson Ranch. So turned that bogey right into a birdie, just like when you factor in my handicap.
Absolutely. Just for a little clarity, though, when you said they were scheduled at 7, but they thought 7:30, but wasn't it 7:30 the following day?
No, it was the same day. We had them starting at 7:30. They thought they were starting at 7. We already had other people booked there, so
sure.
I couldn't move that many people around.
Okay, perfect. Jason, birdie and bogey.
I think we're going golf nerd here a little bit. And the U.S. Open this last weekend, where Tiger and Phil just had a lot of bogeys.
Yeah.
First time they've ever missed the cut together, I think, at the U.S. Open.
Wow, that's a fun fact.
Right?
But they're kind of old, you know what I mean?
They are.
Yeah, they're 50, right?
Getting close.
Yeah. Well, so am I. But anyway, Mikey D, birdie and bogey.
Hey, I'm going to the U.S. Open this week, too. At the beginning of the week, I was lucky enough to put 50 bones on the Wolfie, on Matt Wolf, and I was licking my chops until DeChambeau pretty much destroyed the field and had that remarkable round. So my birdie is my bogey. I was super excited going into Saturday. I told everybody I had Wolfie would win for 60-1, and anyway, it didn't turn out that way. So birdie and the bogue.
And just to clarify, and maybe if you have the ticket present, was it really either 60-1 and you bet 50? Because Mikey is a rounder upper or down or whatever benefits him. So is that the actual true
exactly.
numbers?
No, there's no exaggeration here. It was to win $3,000. The Wolfie bet one guy. That was him. That was my horse for the week. But
he played great, but he did lose by 6, so it really wasn't that close. So let's be real. All right, let's get started on episode 2. This is why golf courses fail and how to get off that dreaded slippery slope. So as we shared in episode 1, we've been doing this for about 20 years. We've had wins, we've had losses, we've managed, owned, consulted, leased. So we're going to share some stories too about, why golf courses do fail. And we came up with the term, the slippery slope, because I think it's one that's been around in the golf business from a management perspective for a long time. So that the fixed costs are always going to go up, right? Payroll, taxes, utilities. And then when they go up, and if you're not innovative and you're not creative and your revenues don't go up, then you start cutting maintenance budgets and your service levels. And then the revenues go down and the fixed costs keep going up. And that slippery slope sure ends up ugly. So it's something that unless you actually shift the vibe and increase the bottom line, like we said, a lot of golf courses end up going under. So what we're going to do is talk about, the things that cause that, but also the things to go ahead and avoid that slippery slope. And there are some uncontrollable things that do affect a golf course and that can't be successful. Those are the things that you usually find in when you do due diligence. Either it's overpaid, your debt's too high. There's water costs that are out of control. The location is terrible, or there's inclement weather that you can't control. But those things we can't control, control, so we're not going to discuss those. But in a few weeks, we are going to have legendary due diligence consultant Mike Abey. He's also a Paradigm co-founder. He'll be on the show. It's going to be a great episode. I think that a lot of people will enjoy. But we're going to go ahead and get started and talk about why golf courses fail. And we do it in our 4 pillars. It's management, marketing, myths, and morons. So we're going to start on the management side. I'm going to actually give it over to Mikey. Why don't you go ahead and share a few reasons on why you think golf courses fail?
Well, it's pretty key is that they just don't provide an environment that connects with people. It's their privilege of actually taking their money and checking them in and sending them to the tee, or there's just no reason for a guest to come back. I mean, your conditions and your layout can only get you so far, especially when you have a modest layout and modest conditions. It's really the people that make the difference. And so empowering your entire team from your starter on down to just make that guest experience as cool and as fresh as it can be.
Absolutely. Because we've actually taken over and been involved with properties in very, very competitive marketplaces where they said there was no chance. And we're going to share a lot more now about how we've had actually great success in those markets. But Jason, like I said, you've been in the golf business your whole life. You're a very accomplished player. You kind of came from a different path. We talked about our path last week. Mike and I came from, had no other choice because we couldn't do anything. Drew actually had other options. It sounds like you had some options, but this was your passion in your life, and you went through the PGA of America program. So it was a different path getting here. But why do you think golf courses fail?
I truly believe that people get stuck in their own way, where they're doing really well and they stop working hard and trying to get things better. And I truly believe that they
just put their head down and go.
And just go.
Until something breaks, right? And I was going to ask both of you guys, because I really haven't been doing this for that long, but Mikey and Jason, both of you have probably seen it. I know when I used to be a customer and go check in at a golf course, you really only see the entry level, the front desk person, right? You don't see anybody. You never really see the head pro or the GM. And that's something that I noticed when I came on board, is that I spend a bunch of my time up there. I know Jason's always out and about helping manage things. And, Mikey, how much time do you spend out at PBN, out kind of in the thick of it instead of being back in an office?
100% of my time is spent primarily in the field, shaking it up.
Well, that's partly because we don't allow them in an office either. So, Mikey's not too smooth administratively. Yeah, a 1-hour project takes Mikey it takes 20 hours to clean it up. So, but no, the big thing too is that kind of what Jason and Andrew were talking about. The typical traditional approach is that they focus on policies and procedures and not people. And if I had to say anything about the golf business as a whole, and we have our struggles and we don't shift quick enough, but the buying patterns and what people like and how to attract them changes weekly, daily, monthly. And if you're not actually constantly pivoting and seeing what actually works and what doesn't, I think it's a big thing too. So, and I think another part too is that the golf business has always had this model where they hire just about anybody that walks through the door. They don't train them. They don't encourage them. They don't incentivize them. So it's known to be low-paying jobs with no training and no upside. So one thing within the Paradigm way that we've always tried to go ahead and foster is to go ahead and train people not necessarily on the golf business, but the people business and how to sell and how to communicate and how to connect. And also we attach a commission and incentive program. So our sales and service specialists can actually make $18 to $25 an hour, where in most golf courses, it's minimum wage, a little free golf, and a shirt once every 6 months. So, Jason, you've seen the difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Paradigm's been a great company to work for. It's been exciting, fun, and just always moving forward.
Absolutely. Drew, you do a lot of the training up front, and we take a lot of people that have not had a lot of golf experience, but it's more based on personality. As far as the training process, setting the expectations, how much of a value have you seen that?
Yeah, I think that it means the world to them, not just for any reason other than when you're training somebody new, right? You're a new hire, You're not used to how this works. You don't know what every day at work is going to look like. So for somebody to genuinely take interest in you, really for the whole team to take interest in you, want to teach you, want to help you grow, empower you to make decisions so that you can make a customer happy, whether they're upset or you're trying to make them smile. That's super important to us, because if you don't, and you're policy and procedure driven, and even though you might want to make that person across from you smile, if your only answer is, sorry, you teed off, there's a sign right there, you can't get your money back, I don't care if there's thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
How are you going to come back from that? So
Absolutely.
It's nice being able to give them and really mean it when we say, look, make a decision, do what you think is best. And as long as it's not malicious, you might make the wrong choice. We might teach you, what some alternatives could have been, but you're going to get a pat on the back and we're going to grow as a team.
Absolutely. And I know this is a hot button for Mikey too, but in the golf business, they take this approach that it's the way it's always been, right? So, and they have these really ridiculous, and I hate to use the word stupid policies, right? And none of them are actually designed to go ahead and help a customer enjoy their experience, like the no fivesomes no matter what. Well, what if it's late in the day and nobody's behind them, right? Or what if you just manage time rather than the amount of people in the group? And then you have the ones that all carts have to be in at a certain time, but there's 45 minutes or an hour left of sunlight. So I try to look at everything as if I was the customer. I mean, imagine if we were having a dream match and we had enough time to finish our round, 5 holes, and some grumpy old, drove around and said we had to bring the cart in. Those policies are created. And, when I've challenged them when we walked in a new property, the only response is that's the way it's always been.
Yeah.
I mean, just a ridiculous way, I think, to go ahead and attack. Mikey, anything else on the management that you'd like to go ahead and share on why you think golf courses fail?
Well, yeah, just to elaborate on it, and what the fun part of operating a golf business is 100% of the revenue side. So you can operate it on the expense side, which is important too. Nobody wants waste, but to really operate a business based on the revenue is really what's fun. That way you'll have additional cash flow to put in and improve your asset and make it great. And the only thing with money is people. And so you have to be in the people business to do this. And just because it's not broke doesn't mean you can't make it better.
Yeah. When we look at a property, and the big difference between us and most management companies is that we will structure our deal mostly on performance, and I will actually put the test out there. If anybody is looking for a management company or a consultant, we are here to help, that we will actually put the vast majority of our compensation in year-over-year growth. And one of the things we like to see when we walk into a property is that they have a flawed business model. And that means it's a semi-private club. And those are, I've never seen a semi-private club flourish financially. And I'm not saying the asset's not nice and they have a lot of things going for them. But what they do is they put together these low-priced annual memberships, right? And then they complain that they can't use online platforms like Golf Now and that because the prices are too low. But then when you do the math from the annual members, that their average round is $12. They take up prime time. And when you give them the M word, the member, they actually suck up all the time and life out of the management and the frontline team, wanting more bunker sand and all that. Like, there is a private club, which I get, the one that pays $3 million for the lot, $500,000 a join and $3,000 a month. That guy can get your time, right?
Yep.
But so when these business models go in and they're just focused on making these 100 or 200, so-called members that didn't pay an initiation fee, they pay the lowest fee possible. That's not loyalty. Right. And I can tell you what, you raise the price of these things and they go shop it down the street. So I think a failed business model is one that actually has been very detrimental to the golf business also. So, and we love those, man. We'll come in after those and actually, it's a little bit of a struggle, at communicating that. But at the end of it, there is always a dramatic financial improvement at the club. So we're going to shift on next to marketing. But before we do, in case you're getting a little bored out there, we are going to have a contest at the end where you're going to win some golf. And it's going to be fun too, because you're going to go ahead and get to share what you think your dream foursome will be. We'll give you more details, but stay tuned because it's going to be a cool contest. So we're going to shift into marketing. And, this is one, like I said, last week is very close to me. The golf business, Jason is a longtime PGA member. As you went through those classes, and there's a lot of them, and I'm not trying to belittle the process, but out of all those, how much time did they spend talking about marketing?
Almost none. It's all managing the cart fleet, managing teaching, managing the golf shop, merchandise, very little marketing for sure.
Yeah. And then what about sales training?
Not a whole lot of sales training either.
Yeah. Actually, I did go through the first 2 stages, but due to some difficulties, never went back. But anyway, but no, that's true. You know, I think that as the PGA of America, I think they've done a lot of great things. However, when it comes to the public sector, when it comes to sales, service, marketing, there was never a focus on it. So that's a way that we feel is a great way to go ahead and separate ourselves. And, you know, Mikey, you took over some properties in Florida that were on their deathbed. They were in hospice. You went in there and you did a lot of things down there, right? And not one of them was conventional, right? You shook it up. So why don't you share some of the things you did and how they worked?
So the first step besides the marketing and more into the sales side is it all begins with the way you answer the phone, all the way down to set that first impression to the guest. So at all of our properties, of course, we answer it with, it's another beautiful day at the property you're at, right? The Palm Beach National. This is Mike. So key to it to just set the right tone into the sales. So now the guest is already excited to get there and he hasn't even been there yet. So that is a culture and a mentality that we set.
Absolutely. So, Mikey, though, when it came to the marketing side, you know, the traditional way when you first got there was the newspaper. Maybe you bought some overpriced ad in some lame golf magazine that nobody read, right? So specifically, I know that I actually watched it in their videos, and, you know, you did get millions of views on, you know, a lot of total amongst all of it. But what about the contest too? Because when you take over a new property, usually you need customers, right? So we call it customer acquisition mode. And we did that where we would actually give away a ton of free golf by having contests and branded, you know, the property manager or leader. So Mikey, how did all those contests work and how did that attract new golfers?
So we used the contests in all of our videos to really build an audience and create exposure to PBN, to actually capture their attention, which is more valuable now than even money. So we use contests to get the word out. Actually, it creates a buzz, and everybody's in it for what's in it for me. So if there was an opportunity to win some free golf, they would definitely stay tuned and couldn't wait until the next one. Then we had evolved into more of a music video parody to really with the whole mentality of just hope we made you smile. That was our whole messaging behind a lot of our spoofs and parodies and zany fun stuff and Smash at the Nash. And as we did it and we got better at it, we continued to evolve into cool things where we now have several music videos out there that have several 100,000s of views. And now national recognition to where, you know, we were rated the 4th most favorite golf course in America.
Yeah. No, that was quite an achievement too. So. You know, and Mikey actually created a vibe down there too, where people wanted to go see the staff, the team, and see what was happening rather than just the golf course. It's a cute golf course, but it would be hard to separate too. So, you know, and Mikey brought up a word too. It's called free, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get somebody's attention in the golf business, free is pretty funny. And you know what our slogan is? If it's free, I'll take 3. So that definitely was a great way to go ahead and attract attention. Drew, you're the front man and you've done a brilliant job at the Dobson. So how have you used it in the cycle and the sales process, these videos, to attract new people?
Yeah, I think that, you know, Dobson specifically, they had some image issues just in terms of before, you know, pace of play was a real hot button thing, right? And so a lot of people wrote it off because they went there, they spent 2 hours more than they thought, they played 5.5, 6 hours, whatever it was. And we learned all that through our due diligence, looking at old reviews. And so to offer people free golf, we even went back to reviews from before we were there and we said, hey, you know what, here's my cell phone number, give me a call. You know, we'd really love a chance to make it up for you. We're really trying to change things here. And just giving that sort of personal touch, doing what we could to reacquire customers, not just acquire new ones who didn't know what Dobson Ranch was, and then actually deliver. If you bring out a customer who's skeptical or they've never been there before and you don't manage the team and you don't have them people oriented and you're just like everywhere else, they're going to say, well, dude, this guy said that they were changing things. They're just like everybody else. What's the point? Why would I ever come back? But when you kind of hit them with the 1-2 punch, you give them, you know, an incentive to come out. You run a contest where maybe they win a free twosome, but they bring 2 other buddies that are paying customers. Everybody has a blast, you know. Then you start to build that culture. You start to create a following and a family, really, because what's more important to me and what makes me smile the most down at Dobson is not just how a lot of our key employees, know a lot of the regulars' names, but the fact that the regulars come in, even when they're not playing, just to say, hey, how are you guys? For them to come in and check on Chris or Jacqueline or any of our pro shop attendants, that speaks volumes too. And like Mikey said, we answer our phones the same way. It's another beautiful day at Dobson Ranch, but then we immediately ask what their name is because we want to build that connection. And just by knowing their name, make things so much easier. And truth be told, when you know someone's name and they know you, and then you do make a mistake or we do have a bad day and pace is really bad again or something, we just jump in front of it. We tell them, hey, look, we know we could have done better. Sorry. Hope you give us another chance. And it's amazing how much more receptive people are when they know you, when you know them and you take an interest instead of trying to hide in an office.
Absolutely. You take responsibility and people always appreciate that. And, in what Drew and Mikey were talking about too, it's part of a process, right? So you do this marketing, you get the word out, it's cool. People want to come try it. And then when they walk through the door, that leads back to we shared the management, right? The team actually has what we call the Paradigm Playbook. It's actually built and developed to ask certain questions to go ahead and actually get them to find the product that's best for them. And then we go ahead and convert them into this players program, and now they're our customers, right? So they feel like they're part of something too. And then at the end of it, the team member that actually made that sale, they get a significant commission, and we have a top dog contest at the end of the month where they get another bag of money if they win. And so it's really a competitive, fun, cool thing. So anybody that's managing golf courses out there, I'd really recommend you take a hard look at your compensation packages and your training to go ahead and make it worth their while to go ahead and be nice to people and ask the right questions too. And the other thing that's shocking in the golf business too is the lack of innovation and understanding of technology today. We happen to be in BrandLink Studio right now. That's our ad agency. We realize we don't know it all, but I think that we know quite a bit. But we leverage relationships and we make the investment into a company like this that can go ahead and use SEO and targeting, retargeting, geofencing, and actually to maximize our exposure. Because you can have some great content, but if you don't get it in front of the right people, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? And not the right people are going to see it, and not the right amount of people. So I can say that from a marketing perspective, that's the best way to separate yourself. Stop trying to go ahead and sell the golf course. Be specific, build a brand, build a culture, and actually market and brand your team and your customers. So any other thing, Mikey, anything else on the marketing side or pricing?
That's great, Joe. Yeah, that was really powerful, Joey. And I wanted to just share something more on the micro side as far as building and establishing an operational influencer at your golf property, which is huge. Somebody is a face of the club that we've done, and we've done this at all of our golf clubs. And so they can relate our certain property with a certain person, like Drew at Dobson Ranch, myself here at PBN, and so on. So having that operational influencer as the face of the property. And also, it's not so much how big your audience is, but what your audience can give you and how interested they are. So for example, here in Palm Beach National, we may not have a huge influence globally, but here locally, we can sell out a global golf party or a driving range contest or something within 40 minutes in one post, because all of our people that are tuned in are actually interested in being involved here at Palm Beach National. And so that's a much greater impact and influence than having 50,000 followers, none of which actually have any interest in your product.
Absolutely. Just the term operational influencer, that is a Paradigm original. So if anybody steals like one of these large geek companies, that was us. But just to clarify too, what Mikey was saying, that, a lot of people, when they get in the social media game, their goal is to get a gazillion followers and all that stuff too, but none of them really are there to buy your product. I get it if that you're going to make that a profession, that you need to go ahead and want other people to pay you money to market their property. I respect that. But at our properties, Mikey has a few thousand followers, Drew, you have 1,000 or so. But those people, when there's a message that goes into the universe, it actually works. I mean, people, flood to go ahead and sign up. So I think it's a great thing too. And just to go ahead and shift into pricing too, I think that when it comes to pricing, because we put that in the same category as marketing, there's a lot of buzzwords out there: dynamic pricing and yield management.
Algorithms, how about that?
Yeah, algorithms. Yeah. A group of people in the golf business really knows how to look at an algorithm, right? But those were buzzwords that have become really, really popular. And I don't think many operators truly understand it, because what they do is not dynamic. It's called tier pricing, right? And if it works for you, fine. But what makes it dynamic is truly understanding your busy times, understanding how you're going to communicate to fill those busy times with the right customers. And we call it promotional based pricing. That means we offer a promotion, it evaporates at some point, and to go ahead and acquire customers to fill off peak times, and it works much, much better. And that's where you can integrate the social media, the videos, the email, and all the different platforms. So, Drew, you've seen it too. You've actually taken on the job of yield management at the ranch. So how do you like it so far?
Yeah, I thought you were kind of joking at first when you told me about it, and you said how Mikey's gotten really good out in Palm Beach Nash, and it's almost like playing the stock market, but it really was. Once I finally took into consideration what you were going over, I started checking my emails. That was a big thing for you. But once I started seeing those confirmations, the amount of people that would buy golf for $14 instead of $15 when it's 120 degrees out and it's 3 p.m, it was astounding. Just one thing. And then it turned into a game where I was competing with myself. And it goes back to what Mikey said earlier. I wasn't worried about the cost or how many people we had staffed, because I looked at it as my job to fill the place. If I could drive the revenue and meet the budget, then as long as we kept it staffed so everyone could have a good experience, that was the most important thing. And understanding, one of the other big points you said in the peak season is when the weather's great, people will wait 30 minutes for that hard price break you have,
It's like $3 too.
Yeah, if your price breaks at noon, good luck filling the time from 11:30 to noon, because everyone says, dude, I'll just wait 30 minutes and it's going to be $3 cheaper, and no chance. So then to go in and either find a group that's got 30 players and they fill that, and you give them a good set rate and they play every week, and now it actually drives the rest of those times up.
Absolutely.
So just learning all of that stuff, and it really is an art more of a science for sure. You got to trust your gut.
Absolutely. So Jason, this topic had a little bit of a shift for you when you went from Bali High to Dobson, right? The pricing strategy?
A little
slightly?
Bit. Yes.
Yeah. So what was it like going from Bali High, where we would yield them, over $400 or at $400 during Super Bowl, March Madness and things, and not to mention the $90 rental clubs, the $90 dozen of balls. So then you come to the ranch where, threshold's a little lower.
Just a little. Yeah. Just a couple dollars here and there.
Yeah.
No, I think if I'm looking back at previous properties, people just get stuck in their ways and stuck. You talk about dynamic pricing, it's more static because they set it 65 or 95 or whatever it is, and they really don't change it at all.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really getting ahead of it like Drew does, and he does a phenomenal job just staying ahead of it and changing prices when we need to, and it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. The key is staying ahead of it because it does shift. And, and I think that one of the biggest reasons golf courses fail too, and we'll shift on to the next topic here after this, but when owners or golf course managers price their product based on what they think it's worth, well, that does not count. You know what I mean? You could think your golf course is worth $500 to make you feel better, and you can pound your chest and tell, the people you go to dinner on Friday night that your golf course is $500 a round. Well, maybe only 2 people paid that, right? So I think it's an ego thing, and it's a thing that you have to understand customers. You have to understand what they like and what moves, because each property has a threshold. And in the Las Vegas golf market, it's one of the most dynamic ones there is, because if there's a convention in town, next Tuesday could be $300 to play golf, and the next Tuesday could be a convention that they're stuck inside all day, and it could be $99. For sure. And that one fluctuates. But even at Dobson and PBN, $3, and I was joking, but it is true. At $3, that difference goes from filling every time to not.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and shift now to myths. The myths about the golf business. And I think what we'll do now is actually we'll just throw one out there. We can all comment on it because we discussed this before, and I think we'd all agree it kind of ties the whole show together. And that is that younger people aren't into golf, that participation is way down, and no matter what you do, you can't survive in the golf business. And I do think that is a myth. And this is not meant to be self-serving or arrogant, but we've been in the business 20 years. We've actually made multi-million-dollar turnarounds. We're in the process of doing it at properties right now. And it was done by shifting the vibe and increasing the bottom line. And, not every golf course will survive, partake, but everyone can do way better if they go ahead and do that. And when it comes to the youth, I mean, Drew, I'll hand it over to you. I think that plenty of younger people like golf, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, especially when you have younger people that have been athletes all their lives, they've played these other sports like hockey or baseball or really anything, right? And you have a really impacted sport where they can't play at a college level anymore. They can't do it. People are itching to find something to do when they're competitive to either best themselves or to best each other. And golf is going to be one of the best things because you can go out and all you need to do is show up at the golf course with a couple buddies and you can play each other. You don't have to worry about a league. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And I think that it's like Mikey talked about before with, the cute girl you wanted to ask on a date. She said she didn't have enough time. Well, and maybe it just wasn't enough time for you. And I think that's what it is with golf. People have so many alternatives too. They have TV, they have video games, they have, ultimate frisbee, they have whatever it is that's out there that they could go do. So you have to find a way to entice them. You have to find a way to make it worth their while. And that's where the contest, that's where the music, that's where the giveaways, that's where all that stuff is, because it makes us different and it makes us appealing. And then, people start to come out and have fun. They are probably never going to be good at golf. Like I never will be, but it doesn't matter because when they go, they're having a good time. And that's really what it boils down to.
And I think too, that people now are looking for something fun to do, whether it's with their girlfriend or their buddies or whatever too. So Mikey, you went down there, you've actually created a massive following of younger people at the Nash. What do you think the top 5 things, 'cause I know there's several, that actually led to driving more younger people to the property?
Well, on Drew's point too, you're not just competing with the golf course down the street. You are competing with about 65 other activities that they could be doing as well. So number one is building the culture of camaraderie, where it's just a very cool place to come on out. There's not one person telling people what they can't do. It's all about what you can do. Number 2, we've actually listened to them, and so we promote it's the only place in America it's cool to drink and drive, the golf ball, I mean. So we've encouraged more of a party atmosphere. 3, actually, between the Bluetooth speakers, the basketball hoops at the turn, and the cool driving range targets, it's not just that it's there to play, but it just sets a certain expectation or tone to the day that this place is really cool and I like it. 4, we actually priced it to where they can afford to come play at certain times of days with our range sunset programs, where they can come out typically in the afternoons and play for not a great deal of money and enjoy themselves. And 5, actually, so we put together like different groups of young people that like to come out and actually have a little bit of a game as well. So we've built a network of younger peeps, well, my age, if that's younger, but they come on out. They actually play for a big, wrestling belt, and at the end of the day, and it's just fun. So they all hang out, drink afterwards, and bust chops.
Absolutely. So Jason, you know what? By definition, you're more of a traditionalist, right? And I say that because you're always the best dressed guy at the property. And the most organized, you're the best player, right? So I get it, right?
I understand.
All very cool stuff, but how do you feel? Because you were in the midst of your career when even like other management companies are letting people play in T-shirts and laid back, and you don't have to dress to the nines and do all the stuff you used to. I mean, how has that impacted you? I mean, did it take a while for you to accept that?
Oh, for sure. I saw some tank tops the other day, and I still kind of cringe, but yeah, for sure, definitely changing.
How about those young
ways.
foursomes that go out with no shoes?
No shoes, no shirt,
no problem.
No problem.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good that you did adapt, right? Because I think that it did attract a lot of players. And what Mikey talked about too, and I think other golf courses out there that are listening, or operators, is that you have all this dead time, the 2 to 3 hours before dark, and people just let it go to waste. And we create these sunset players programs where it's less expensive to come play golf and have a few beers than it is to go to a movie. And come on out and enjoy some music. We have the Bluetooth speakers on the carts and have a blast. You know what I mean? Bust some chops, and as long as you keep moving too. Because if not, the chainsaw over here, Drew, will actually get after you. You know what I mean? But I'm a believer pace play too. We'll keep it rocking. But so anyway, so we're going to now shift to morons, and then we are going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to play the Dream Foursome game, and we're going to give away a bunch of golf. So with the morons of this section on why golf courses fail, I'm going to have to say myself. Because when we started our company, I've always been an ambitious guy. I'm definitely a half glass full, and I'm one of those guys that can convince myself of just about anything, And on a side note, that's why I don't allow any mirrors in our house or people to take my picture, because I truly believe I look like Bradley Cooper, right? And I'm sure nobody will disagree that's watching here, but
almost there.
Yeah, almost there. Okay, slightly. So. Why I am the moron is that there are certain golf courses that we got involved with. No other company or group would ever take them. And we've won with some of those, but there's certain ones that can't survive. It doesn't mean that we didn't have great success and actually improve them dramatically, but we put a ton of time and effort, and it was just a dog with fleas, and it's one of those things that no matter what we did, because of the elements, and it was a golf course that every time you drove up, it was so windy you could not open your car door. So we would pre-sell it to do 240 rounds, but nobody could get it past the third hole because you couldn't stand up. So, but we kept trying, you know what I mean? And actually it created a lot of stress. For sure. But there's the time where you have to really look at it and see about what can make it and what can't. So, all right, Drew, would you got a moron for us?
No, you know what? I think I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm going to defer to Jason if we can.
I don't even know if I have a moron.
I know.
All right. Well, Mikey, you got that. You have to do 3 morons.
I'm going to have to second that, Joey. I think the biggest morons ever are those architects that design a golf course that's way too hard and impossible to play.
For sure.
For example, Winged Foot. Hey, that's a bad example because that's high-end, super mega private with great traditions. So I can't use that one. Although I would have zero fun there because I would smash it, lose 52 golf balls, and probably wind up quitting the game. But architects that design golf courses that are way too narrow, way too long, and way too hard. It's outdated and it's stupid. Just make a golf course that's cute, fun, friendly, and about 6,500 yards where you can mash it, find it, and mash it again.
Absolutely. They'll hit giggle. I love those, right? Mow them all at one length. Everybody feels great. Absolutely. Yeah. On a side note, too, actually, we had a golf course in the desert, and it was just roughly over 6,000 yards. My business partner, Mike Abey, came out and said, why would anybody ever want to play a golf course that's only 6,000 yards? And he went on and on and on. And we went and played, and he shot 68 with a lot of asterisks, you know what I mean? Couple ball bumps, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But I had to hear about it for the next 2 months. So, but the moral of the story, to compliment Mikey on his moron there, is that it felt good. You know what I mean? We played quick. You weren't exhausted. You know what? You didn't want to commit suicide. You just wanted to go and actually enjoy the day. Sure.
Yeah, Joe, I think let's circle back. I've got a moron now for you. I'm locked and loaded. So we're going to go, and I'm going to double down on the golf course manager that is going to go ahead and just start hacking staff when the weather's bad, or we have one of those uncontrollables we talked about in the beginning of the episode that's really hurting them. Instead of keeping things the same and almost doubling down on their team, using them to draw anybody and everybody they can out to try and salvage what they've got going on, they just start cutting staff, they cut guest services, they cut people managing the course. So anybody that does come out, people are driving on the greens, on the tee boxes, it's ruining the course. They have less maintenance crew now to keep it up. And it's just going to start that downward spiral, kind of like the slippery slope you talked about in the beginning.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, makes total sense. So there you have it. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to go ahead and play Body Like a Golf Pro. Check this one out. And we're going to come back. We're going to go ahead and play East Coast, West Coast, Dream Foursome. We're going to be giving away a bunch of golf and prizes, so stay tuned.
Took a job at the pro shop, gotta take a few calls. Pretend that I'm working, hardly working at all. Folding sweaters, selling ladies' shoes. Ain't gotta do a damn thing, gonna take a little snooze. Body like a golf pro, you can stroke my ego while the inventory's walking out the front door.
Welcome back to the Golf Biz with Mikey D, Drew, and the crew. Well, it's game time, little East Coast, West Coast. Drew, his goal in life is to become a game show host, so I'm going to hand it off to you, Drew.
Yeah, alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the Dream Foursome. We're going to have Jason, our resident golf nerd, and Mikey D representing the East Coast. They're going to go ahead and give us their dream foursome, who they think the other 3 players they would kill to play golf with. And I want you guys to go ahead, comment below, follow us at The Golf Biz on Instagram. Let us know there whose you think is going to be better. Also, give us your dream foursome. For you guys, we're going to go ahead and pick a winner. The winner is going to get a free foursome at either Palm Beach National or Dobson Ranch out here in Arizona. And if you're not close to either of those, don't worry. We'll give you a $100 gift package to spend on either pro shop. So there's something in it for everybody. And we're going to go ahead and rate all of your dream foursomes on 3 categories. We've got coolness, we've got skill, and we've got creativity. Alrighty. First up's going to be Mikey, representing the East Coast. Let's go.
Awesome. I got this right here because this was hard too because I wanted to make sure I set up a foursome with the greatest amount of upside for me. So not only would this be iconic and an epic day with 2 of my very favorite superstars of all time, but also I think that I could probably pay my mortgage at the end of it, would be my partner, Bill Walters, who is one of the greatest gamers of all time and one of the greatest entrepreneurs, but also a father figure and a mentor to me through my career. So Bill Walters is my partner to set up the bet against Sir Charles Barkley, who I would go against, right? So I got Charles, I got my man, and Michael Jordan. Plus they live here in South Florida, or at least I know Sir Mike does. So that would be iconic at Jordan's new golf property up here in South Florida.
Wow, look at that. Mikey with that extra credit point there, even telling us what course he's going to play at.
Yeah, but Mikey, I don't think that the boss would actually want to play at Michael Jordan's home course. We would do it at the Nash, man.
Okay, all right, at the Nash, for sure. I
the boss is not going to go to be the visitor. It's got to be home court advantage, bro.
For sure.
Yeah.
All righty, Jason.
Well, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest here. Bill Walters gets to set up the wager. I get 0 negotiations, okay? Because if I did, then we would definitely get fleeced. Can't happen.
All righty. So that's a pretty solid sounding one. I know that because I actually know all 4 of those people. We're going to go ahead and set it up here with Jason representing the West Coast. Don't let me down.
All right. We're going to go a little more traditional in golf. Of creativity, we're going with the king, Arnold Palmer, right? Just a true perfect golfer, right?
So we are allowing dead people, right?
Yeah, we are allowing dead people.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. And we are going with the coolness side of Lee Trevino with all the stories in the world. And the coolness or the skill, we're going with Ben Hogan.
Yeah, a little nerdy, but I get it. It's good. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that would you definitely lose a lot less golf balls in that group than Mikey's.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So there you have it. You've got their 2 dream foursomes. Go ahead. Let us know who you guys think is the winner there, East Coast or West Coast. And go ahead and drop us a line and tell us what you think your dream foursome would be. And we're going to go ahead and pick a winner based on who we think is the most cool, creative, and has the most skill. And it's going to be great.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in. Episode 2. Hope you enjoyed it. And actually, you have to stay tuned and actually invite your significant other, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, or both. I don't know. Right. Invite him to the next show because the topic is going to be how to successfully or unsuccessfully work with your significant other and family. This could cause a couple of breakups. So go ahead. We're going to have our significant others on. It's going to be a great episode. But thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you soon.
From the T to the green, and the P to the B. Skip the plumb bob, drop the plumb bob, lose the plumb bob. Who needs a plumb bob? From the T